So if we type in F10, or if we go to Edit Control Points On, I can pick the control points, which are the edge points, like grips in AutoCAD, and adjust the geometry. Okay? So there's sort of a connection from one to the other. Now I do this for both planes. I don't know why it's having a problem now. We'll see. And what I'm orientating here is this other geometry. Now, one thing you'll see, the way these things are drawn, depending on how you drew it, you sometimes need to move them in different positions. All right? You basically want this to appear on the right plane, which is there. Okay? So far, so good? Oh, I think it's these points. Let me delete these real quick. All right. Yes, guys? Sorry? I can see it. I mean, I might have moved this thing down a little bit at one point. It's a little bit off the plane, but if I come here and I go to properties, let's see if we go to details. Yeah, it looks like it's a little bit off, but that's fine. Okay, so far so good. All right, let's see what's next. Okay, now I'm trying to make some geometry. So let's go here. So I'm deconstructing that again and grabbing a certain point. And for some reason, it doesn't like the deconstruction. So I'm going to redo it. Sorry, it's different ways of looking at groups. Because I swapped it out, it somehow had a problem. It still has a problem. Why does it have a problem? So you get these little errors here. Data conversion failed. We're trying to turn this into a B-rep to get the points. But so what we did now is take that one shape that we put up here, and then we want to extract one of the vertices. And I can see their numbers. I see this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So again, I use my list item. In this case, I'm extracting 0. And then I'm going to my other geometry. This is the size of the points. And here I'm also extracting, in this case, 0. So 0 and 0. Does that make sense? We're isolating these 2 points, 0 and 0. And now I'm using a third point so I can draw a Bezier curve. Ultimately, which is going to be through here, which is the interpolate curve through points. So I'm going to make a point here in Rhino. I'm going to set that point. And then, the way I have it set up, it draws that curve. From 0 to that point to 0. So if I take this now and move it around, it's adjusting the curve. So again, I'm just trying to show you we can adjust these things through not only Grasshopper and have parameters, we can have parameters outside of Grasshopper, which are directly in Rhino. And what you guys can do to get a little bit more fancier, you could increase and add another point. So that's why I'm starting to produce. Sort of like in the other model, those sort of complexities. And then I'll plug these back. You have to plug these in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I have sort of 2 control points for that curve. Is this making a little sense? Yes, guys? So this is a good training and understanding how to sort of work in Rhino and in Grasshopper. Then I do the same thing for another, but now I'm setting my index to 3 and 3. So I'm grabbing points 3 and 3. And I'm going to make, and this is where we have to be smart. So we're trying to make an inflated form, so this isn't pure arbitrariness. We want to go from 3 to 3. So we have to be smart. So let's go just place a point first. I'm going to go replace this point, set 1 point. Let's see what curve is being generated. So there's that. And then if I turn on the loft, like we did the pumpkin, we get that. Now we can see this is starting to sort of go inside itself. So this is where we have to be smart and understand, okay, if this is out and then this is in, we might need to adjust our opening. So I can rotate these. So rotate, copy no. And maybe that's too much. Let's see. And you can see this is actually going from 0 to 1. But maybe we need to rotate this one. Or not. I mean, we can see what type of form we get. But now it's doing a little bit better. It's doing a weird, it's flipping, right? That one's going there and that one's going there. So let's rotate this again. Actually, I'm going to do a flip command. I'll do it. So that's starting to do it. You can, yeah, definitely. So you don't have to stick with 3 to 3. So I could come here and we have to go to our item here. If I don't want to go to 2. So we'll leave that at 3. And we'll go 0, 0 to 1. So I need some number sliders for the other one too. I have no number sliders in for those. Alright, that looks pretty good. So that's going from, actually we want to go from 0. So that's going from 0 to 2. Oh, sorry, 0 to 1. And 1 to 2. And again, if we start manipulating the position of this, we'll start altering that. So now we need to start to think, okay, so if we went from, we need to go now from 1 to 2, and 2 to 3, okay? Does everyone understand this? Like how we're getting the sides? So I'm going to take this whole thing and copy it. And it's always good to turn the other stuff off momentarily. So let's just look at, so in this case we know 0 is referenced here. So 0 is going to 1. And we said we need to go from 1 to 2, right? So we can make that go 1 to 2. And then we need to go from 2 to 3. So let's turn, we always got to sort of check these things to make sure we're getting them right. And I think we're actually off. So hold on, so we have our first surface, our second surface, and now we're just going to keep on adding. Now we know we need to go from 2 to that point to 3, which was this last set. And it's sometimes good just to sort of put them, like, push them slightly forward so you know, oops, and don't change things. So, so we know we want to go from 2 to 3 to 3 to 0, right? So we're just going to make a new point here for right now. Go ahead and copy this. So I know I need, this has to be 3, and this has to be 0. And I want to set my new point to that. Redo. So there's that curve. And then I want to draw a loft from this guy that guy. And then again I can manipulate this. And then my last is this guy here, which is 3 to 0 to the curve we already have, which is our very first one of 0 to 2. So we don't have to make anything new there. We just make another loft. And we take our first curve and our last. And this is where we can see that we're probably intersecting geometries. I think I got the right one. Did I get the right one? Let's go ahead and just turn things one at a time on. Might have grabbed the wrong one. So there's that surface. So we want to go, that was the wrong one. We want to go to that line. So it's actually that one. I can see it because it's highlighted green. So we'll do our last loft. So we want to go from there. This is a trick. If you use your middle finger, you can scroll in and out like that. By still, because you're holding down to these, right? And you hold down the shift key. Pop that in. There it is. So there's that form. So let's look at, this could be like how we see it quality wise. This is like how we view it color wise. We can change these. Forgot to hit the OK button, I guess. What happened? So we can start to see it. Then you're like, oh, it's in Rhino. It's not in Rhino. It's still a preview. All I did is change how we're previewing it. Okay. So this little button here, this is opacity. And then color. We can dump a color in and make it opaque. This is quality. Low quality, high quality. Just sometimes easier to understand the surfaces if we can preview it. Okay. So after this, what we can do is collect. So we can change things here, right? So we can change the point positions. And this is not, this is just updating in Rhino. This is not baked geometry, right? We can also come and update the actual openings. So if we do a control point, we can say we're going to make, well, it's a little hard to see now, but we're going to alter the size of that. We can also rotate that. Again, this is, it's just for you guys to start to get comfortable, right? Questions on this? Making sense so far?
So they're adjusting the Rhino?
I'm just adjusting in Rhino, yeah?
So is it recorded in the Grasshopper?
And it's being updated as I go in Grasshopper. I haven't baked it yet.
So all those number sliders are moving around in Grasshopper?
Well, no, I'm not moving number slide, I'm moving geometry. The number slide, like if I want to change the scale, that would change. The only thing I can really adjust is maybe the size of this thing. Because I haven't baked it. Once I bake it, you can't do anything. Yeah, once it's baked, it's over. So now I'm going to come here and bake all these. So all my lofts get baked. So I can pick all the lofts. Then say solution, bake selected. And now it's baked. Then I can take these and join them. Select the surfaces, type in join. Now they're joined. I'm just going to move it out of the way right now. Okay. And then I can do a surface offset. I can do both directions, yeah. Well, it's not giving. So let's do a 1/16 of an inch. Probably too much, maybe. Let's see. So in this case, it actually failed. So I'm getting a lot of overlaps. So let's go back. I think I over-tooled this thing. So you gotta be careful. This is gonna be a little bit more complicated of a geometry. I think what I had originally was looking better. So to make things one thing that we should add is the loft option. Okay, this is going to simplify it. So we're going to add the loft option. Remember, we can set the rebuild count. To 10. We're going to plug this all into O for all of them. This is going to help simplify the geometry. Some of you guys forgot to do this and we're having problems. Ultimately. So if I put this, the lower I put it, so it sort of dumbs it down, you know. The higher I put it, the smoother it will sort of be. So maybe even 5. Does that make sense, guys? It's how it rebuilds the surface. So I'm going to take these again. Let's try now to offset them. I'm going to change this back to red. So if we take all these and join them, offset, surf. Let's do 1/32 of an inch. Almost there. It lost 1. We're getting closer. Let's try it again. The reason why we need to offset it is for, it's just for the 3D printing. It's having a problem with that one. Okay, it's changed. Let's change it to round corners. Make sure it's defaulted. Oh! We got closer, but then it freaked out. I think it did it. We're getting some weird conditions. But that's just going to be the artifact of, I don't know why that surface had a hard time with that surface. Let's try, hold on, let me try a couple other. Shell. That looks pretty good. So what the shell command does, what we need to do is once we have all the surfaces together, we have these 2 openings, right? We're going to use a cap command, or cap it. And then we type in shell. We remove the 2 faces that we don't want. And then we hit enter. And you got to put in the thickness. So I made it a 32nd of an inch. It's saying it's not solid, but I think when we STL it out, it'll be able to deal with it. It's having some issues here, but we might be able to get it. We'll see what happens. Let's go a little thicker, maybe. Shell. It's still saying that's all. Alright, made it a little thicker. Getting some really weirdness. It's always hard to print these 3D forms sometimes. I wonder if we cut it first. So let's try. That doesn't look too bad. So like I said, we need to slice this to print it as two separate parts, right? So this is where you got to put your thinking hat on. And think about where's the best place to sort of splice this thing. And I would try to figure out going to, we can try right down there, like try to get through the body. So to do this, we need to start, if we come here to surface, plane, there's a cutting plane. We can pick this and then attempt to draw a cutting plane. Now it's not going to be perfect. We're sort of doing it in elevation view. But at least we have a plane we can work with now. And then what we want to do is get that plane approximately where we want it. We'll rotate it the other way. Alright, let's try there. So what we're going to do now is split it. But it's probably better if we split it after we... The reason why is we want these things to fit perfect. If we split it now and offset them, they're going to have some weird indentation edges. So let's just go with the shell the way it's doing it. And then what we'll do is if we do a split command, or sorry, yeah, split command if I spell it right. So I select what I want to split and select my cutting edge, and if all goes well, it splits it. And sometimes those are perfect. Okay. Hope I didn't lose some inside edges. Yeah, it looks like I did. So make sure you take everything. I'm going to go here. If we do an edit, like select the object, surfaces, select the object. Let's go ahead and get curves. We'll hide the curves. And then edit, select objects, points. We don't want to delete those in case we want to later adjust them. And then I'm going to try to just grab... I'm going to hit the join command. And then we can join this. Now what's happening here, there's emptiness. So, and it looks like some of these inside surfaces didn't do such a good job. Oh, come on. So it's still having some issues with the inside. Like it didn't make a connection everywhere. And that like peeled out. Alright, let's go back. Looks like we might have to do them individually. So as long as they're intersecting, and going inward, yeah, it's bizarre. Some of these are really getting bad. Oh yeah, welcome to architecture. Well, the hard part is getting the 3D. There's a way we can take the surface and give it a thickness, but in this, like normally, if we had like, you know, we have a $3,000 machine, we have the $60,000 machine. We could just sand the surface, but let me take a look. Obviously, we probably won't get this printed today because of this issue. But let me see if MakerBot has a way to just take a surface and define a thickness to it. That's how I do it on the Stratasys. There's other systems, but you know, it's like $3,000 machine versus the $60,000 machine, and I don't think that software can do it. Where we can just say each surface model at 1/16 of an inch, and it just does it. But that being said, the grasshopper part, you know, and the way we can maybe simplify some of these geometries, you know, one of them we have 3 points, and then the other one we have, you know, 4 points. So that adds a little bit more complexity, but not that much. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, then upload it. Right, in both files. So just, I mean, even if you can just take it and produce your own, you know, just look at the definition and think what you can do with it. The opening can be a triangle form. It could be a four-sided. It could make more surfaces. What I was showing here, something to think about, maybe like how you might alter it. At least just take what I have and start to, you know, have fun with it. For the definition, so you can get the definition outputted, if you just go to File, Export High-Res Image, just make sure A is to 255, fully white, and then all you need to do is save it. You can save it as a, let's call this week 4. Hit OK, and I'll save a JPEG, and I'll upload that as well. But as soon as you know, as you start, altering this thing. Okay. Okay.